Micro habits have macro impact. Unintentionality leads to the comfort crisis that we're living in. I feel a sudden urge all of a sudden to buy a new pair of shoes, and I can find 1,000 different versions of this, and I'm starting to search, and then my Instagram algorithm showing me the shoes that I was just Googling, and now I'm all of a sudden on their website and I'm buying it. I'm buying on Amazon for cheaper, and it's gonna be at my house in 24 hours or 48 hours, and that is the world we live in, and that unchecked does something to your soul. Like, think about what kind of urgency of mindless consumerism, of mindless entertainment, those comforts that we're all swimming in. And that's produced a kind of person, and the effects are obvious. We've never had more anxiety, we've never had more depression, suicide is an all-time high, addiction's an all-time high, loneliness is an epidemic in the United States that the Surgeon General has like a 7-part strategy to fix as a nation. So we're looking at all of these issues that are impacting our soul, and there's a correlation to the unchecked habits that we're living in. The world around us is both broken and beautiful. It needs to be healed and it needs to be enjoyed. The danger is we live in a moment where everything is about enjoyment and pleasure. But if we're intentional, just awareness of these kind of influences, we can challenge them through tiny acts of defiance. And these tiny acts of defiance, like putting your phone in the drawer so you can be present to your kids, or checking, shutting your phone off so that you can be present to your spouse or to your community group, or spend alone time with God. Those little tiny habits will prevent long-term compromise over a period of time. So, distractions are a big deal when it comes to the condition of our souls. And if anything, it's our soul that's being threatened by this current society and culture. And so we just have to be intentional. Like, the phrase spiritual formation is a big phrase right now, but essentially it's the process of becoming like Jesus. Jesus doesn't make you boring. You become the best version of yourself when you become more like Jesus, because he created you and he wants you to become fully alive, but also he will cause you to grow. And if anyone has ever tried to grow in something, it requires risk, it requires getting uncomfortable, and it causes you to get outside your comfort zone. You need to read the Gospels and look at this man, the Son of God, Jesus, God incarnate, and his story of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and just stay there and go, how can you follow this guy who, raises the dead, heals the sick, casts out demons, sets captives free, gives sight to the blind, invites the unordinary, uneducated people to do the things that he does, and then he dies on the cross and is raised from the dead, and then commissions you to go and do these things? How can that life be dull? When you realize who he really is, and you realize who you really are because of who he is, he will inevitably lead you on the most wild adventure, the greatest adventure in life you can ever have. I believe that faith in Christ, putting your trust in him, will lead you down the uncomfortable road of becoming fully alive.
Thanks so much for watching. You might be aware that Stream Studio is a crowd-funded non-profit, and if you'd be interested to see more videos like the one you've just watched, perhaps you'd consider a small monthly donation. There's a link in our bio which will give you full details.